Welcome back to the channel that doesn't use AI voiceovers, doesn't use a fake identity, and what you see is exactly what you get. Today we're back talking about Wrexham Football Club as usual, and we have got a whole host of topics that we're going to be talking about today. We've got some transfer news, a player has departed the club. We have got plenty of big sponsorship news that I'm going to be bringing you, confirmed sponsorships, and a big topic in regards to the Racecourse Ground going into next season. We're also going to be having a look at the brilliance of Welcome to Wrexham and the incredible news that have come out from that. So before we get going in today's video, if you would like to see more Wrexham AFC content, and if you enjoy seeing this type of content on YouTube regarding Wrexham Football Club, please make sure to get down there and click the subscribe button. We're on the road to 29,000 subscribers. This is your place for it. Everything transfer news, general news, sponsorship news, just club news in general is coming your way on the channel. So if you'd like to support me, go down there and click the red subscribe button. It's completely free to do so, and let's get taking a look first at some transfer news. And we're going to be looking at Faal. Now, the 23-year-old striker has re-signed for League 2 side Port Vale for the upcoming 26-27 season in League 2. Now, if you remember, just last season Faal signed for Port Vale in the first half of the League 1 season, where he scored 3 goals in all competitions, got injured and returned to the club in January, and then went out on loan to League 2 side Cheltenham Town. Now, if we are looking at Faal's situation at Wrexham, I think it's going to be a signing that does go down as one of the worst in the post-takeover of Ryan Reynolds and Ron McElhenney. Not because of, him as a player, whatever. He's still 23 years old, he's still relatively young, but you cast your minds back to summer 2024. He came into the club after signing for a decent sum of money from Championship side West Brom. They had a lot of good words to say for him. He was coming off the back of 2 really good loan spells in League 2, and I thought we were going to sign a striker that, was 21 years old at the time, had scored plenty of goals in the EFL, was going to come to us, not lead the line, but would really make a name for himself and really push the strikers that we did have in that striking department. But if you look to the current date, Faal has only scored 3 goals in a Wrexham shirt, and all 3 goals came in the EFL trophy, including that incredible bicycle kick, which I think just sums him up as a player and his time up at Wrexham perfectly. I think if you look back at when Faal did sign for Wrexham, I can't imagine that the conversation went down with him, his agent and Phil Parkinson, where Parky said, look, you're coming into the club in this League 1 season where we want to get promoted to the Championship, and you're going to come in, be that starting striker week in, week out. I think it was going to be more of him being in that striking role, pushing the likes of, at the time, Jack Marriott, Paul Mullin, Ollie Palmer, who, they were good players for us, Ollie Palmer, Paul Mullin, but you knew that their time wasn't coming to an end, but you knew that eventually they did need to be replaced, and I think Faal was going to come in and hopefully push them and take over the reign and the boots of those 2 strikers, but it just never really worked out for Faal, I think for a lot of different reasons, and it's a shame because I think he only played 8 league games for us, he didn't start 1, so yeah, I think we wish them all the best of luck at Port Vale this season in League 2, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's one that becomes permanent at the end of the season. So let me know your thoughts on Faal's stay at Wrexham in the comment section down below. And talking next on Welcome to Wrexham, just like the past few seasons of the docu-series, Welcome to Wrexham has been nominated for 4 Emmy Awards. Those categories are as follows: Outstanding Unstructured Reality Programme, Outstanding Cinematography for a Reality Programme, Outstanding Picture Editing for an Unstructured Reality Programme, and Outstanding Sound Mixing for a Reality Programme. So I think if you are looking at Welcome to Wrexham, it's grown the club exponentially. It's just been the driving force of Wrexham's global audience across the world, especially in the States, Canada, Australia, etc. And I think if you are looking at Wrexham Football Club, we get a lot of stick for being called Disney FC and this, that, the other, stick that on your documentary, which is going to happen. It's going to come when you do produce such an incredible documentary. You're going to have these bitter and jealous fans. But I do think the documentary has been one of the best things that has happened to Wrexham Football Club, because it really just does epitomise the town, the community of Wrexham more than the football club. I think the way that they do really focus on the fans of Wrexham, the town of Wrexham, the community, what makes Wrexham Wrexham, and those people contribute as well and have a big say in towards the football club of Wrexham. I think it really does just show the people of Wrexham in comparison to the football club. They just go hand in hand, and I think it just is an incredible documentary. It's one that's grown the club, like I said, but I think for most people out there that watch it, it's more about the community of Wrexham, and it's more about knowing the city of Wrexham. And I think they couldn't have done a better job in showing that. They've got the balance right between football and stuff off the pitch, and yeah, they're just incredible. The people that make Welcome to Wrexham are just absolute geniuses, and I cannot wait for next season already. So yeah, incredible work, well done to everyone involved. Talking next on the Racecourse Ground, this is a big topic for quite a few different reasons. Now, as spoken about a few videos ago on the channel, it's been confirmed that the sponsorship with Stoke Cold Brew Coffee has officially ended in 2026 after a 3-year stay at the club. Wrexham's historic home will revert to the Racecourse Ground once again after the expiry of a 3-year naming rights agreement with Stoke Coffee Cold Brew that had been negotiated ahead of the club's return to the EFL. So what this means is it's no longer the Stoke Cold Brew Racecourse Ground, it's no longer the Stoke Kairas, whatever they wanted to call it, and it now remains a question as to whether Wrexham will look to bring a sponsorship in to get the naming rights of the stadium, to get a few extra bit of quid in their back pockets going into the transfer window. Now, as a Wrexham fan for a very long time, nearly 15 years, it will always be known as the Racecourse Ground, and that was always going to be the case when Stoke Cold Brew did come into the club. Now, in my opinion, if an opportunity arises to generate an extra bit of revenue across the board of the 26-27 season and across potentially the next 3 or 4 years, then I do think we should consider it. But one thing I would say is, please can we not bring a brand in that's going to have the same name as a football club in our league? Because having Stoke Cold Brew as the official sponsor of the Racecourse Ground, it was definitely interesting, although we weren't in the same league as Stoke at the time. It just was a bit weird, and I don't think it went down too well with the Wrexham fans. But I think if we're going to bring someone in, make sure they just really embrace the Racecourse Ground. Make sure they don't just completely take over the full name. Of course, they're going to want to do that, but you look at this situation now, Wrexham are back to the Racecourse Ground. Do we really need that extra maybe £1 or £2 million for a naming rights on the stadium, or do we want to be proud and bold with a potential promotion to the Premier League just as the Racecourse Ground? It's probably not a big deal to you out there, but for the long-term Wrexham fans, for me, it's always been the Racecourse Ground. It always will be the Racecourse Ground. And I hope we don't sort of go down that rabbit hole of, wanting these sponsorships into the club. I think the prime example is Old Trafford. They've never had anyone come in. They've just remained Old Trafford. It's remained one of the best football stadiums in the world, and it's renowned for being that theatre of dreams, as it's called. And I think it all does stem from the word as well and the name of the football stadium. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you think Wrexham should be considering getting a new sponsorship in to gain the naming rights of the stadium, or should we just stand proud with the Racecourse Ground? Talking on another big bit of sponsorship news now, another big sponsorship change has happened up here in North Wales, and United Airlines have been replaced as the front of shirt sponsor by the independent web browser Firefox in what will prove to be a multi-year deal and hopefully a multi-million-pound deal for Wrexham Football Club. Now, I think you're probably all thinking the same as me and a lot of Wrexham fans and a lot of fans in general. Firefox is a name that I'm sure a lot of people haven't heard of in years upon years, but it seems like they've risen from the dead. Rob and Ryan have both said it sort of ties in with that underdog story, but they've risen from the ruins and they're here to get some global exposure across the next few seasons, as they're going to be the front of shirt sponsor for Wrexham Football Club, and they're going to have a big role to play, like United Airlines did, like TikTok did, in the upcoming hopefully Championship and Premier League seasons. Now, I think it's really interesting to note, and it's really interesting to see this sponsorship form, because as we know, Firefox are a non-profit organisation, so I would love to know eventually the ins and outs of the financial injection that Firefox have put forward for Wrexham in this partnership, because if they're a non-profit organisation, are they really going to be offering the big sum of money that Wrexham could hold the sponsorship name on the front of the shirt as? We saw last season, I think United Airlines would have paid around £3 to £4 million with Wrexham in the Championship, with loads of people seeing the shirts and the exposure Wrexham get off the documentary, the USA tours, etc. I do think we could hold that value a bit higher, and it's interesting to see what Firefox are putting forward for it. And all of you eagle-eyed viewers out there would have seen that sort of interesting promotion and sort of that interesting announcement on it. They'd scribbled out the rest of the shirt and you can see the Firefox logo, but one thing we can say is the away shirt is set to be unveiled in our game away at Wisla Krakow in Poland on the weekend. It's going to follow the theme of having a black shirt since our return to the EFL. We've had 2 black away shirts now. We missed it last season in the Championship, but we're returning to black this season, and it looks as if as well it'll have a hint of red on the front of the shirt as well, so it could be a really interesting decision to go ahead with this. I'll put a picture on screen of one that someone drew logo up on social media, and I think it looks really nice. And I think if they do get this right, I think the Firefox logo could make or break a shirt. I think sponsors really do make or break shirts, so if it's going to fit in with the Macron logo, the Wrexham logo, the whole kit in general, we could produce an absolute masterpiece. So Firefox have been confirmed as the sponsor for Wrexham Football Club. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. So that is it for today's video. A bit of a shorter one today, but there's not really much on the transfer front. We saw Piers Charles, the goalkeeper, be rumoured to move to Wrexham. He's currently at Sheffield Wednesday. He's set to move to Premier League giants Manchester City, but their plan for him is to let him go out on loan for the upcoming season. But it looks as if London side QPR have beaten us to the race. They've always been in the front running to sign him. Wrexham sort of made a late approach to come in for the Northern Irish goalkeeper, but it looks as if QPR have got all the deal done behind the scenes to get him across the line. So yeah, it's a bit quiet. The players are back in training. We've seen mostly the faces that we saw last season. We've seen a couple of the loanees return to the club, Elliot Lee, Seb Brevin, etc. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Parky said he's not in any particular rush to let players go, and it's a waiting game as to who he will bring into the club. So yeah, I'm really excited. Don't get too worked up, don't get stressed about us not signing players. Phil Parkinson and their staff will work absolute wonders, and hopefully if we get Steve Nixon in as our new director of football, he can get some big targets in at the football club. So what I'll say is just wait, hold your horses and let them do the magic. Until the next video, take care guys, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Up the Championship Reds.